Hi,
Close.
welcome to Wild Speculation. I'm Daniel.
I'm Scott.
This week we discuss Harvest Clothes.
Yes.
Uh,
17.
What we got right, what we got wrong. Most of it's half right, maybe.
Well, one thing that we got right, but it was really more of a stating the obvious before it happened, was Jester totally Bogarty in the first moat that she could.
Yep. I have a feeling that's also going to be the case in the next long rest too.
Yeah. Which she still has and can use in this final fight.
Yes. I was as the day progressed through the thing and Yasha was using all of her rages.
Yeah.
I was like, she hasn't used it yet. Even when she almost got caught in the temple.
Yeah.
Which she said she would totally use that for.
Yeah.
I
think she forgot she had it.
You think so?
I think she was like, oh, I have it! And then she forgot the whole mechanical thing. I think Laura, as a player, was just too into what was going on, forgot that she had done that.
Yeah, I can see that. But the other thing that I'm counting as half right, anyway.
Okay.
Is last few minutes of the last episode we were talking about what we plan to see going forward. I said they had to interact with the wizards, the Lawmaster, that we had to see Dolan in his position. I can't remember the specific other things, but in the lead up to the fight, we had Dolan next to the Lawmaster, the wizards being introduced.
Which, didn't he just leave though? Dolan?
No, it's been 3 days.
What was the point in leaving if it was only...
No, Dolan didn't leave.
Oh, okay.
His partner did.
Oh, that's right. I got him mixed. I was like, wait.
Yeah, no, he. It's been enough time that in theory he's got his new job. Yeah, I was like, okay, check box, check. Because it was basically who's who.
They showed them there. They didn't really interact with them.
Come on. Yeah, no. And the other thing that happened that we have been waiting on for 4 episodes at least.
Right.
Caleb putting his feelers out to get into the library.
Yeah. And
then Bo saying, yeah, he can get you in.
And revealing to Caleb that she's
a member of the Cobalt Soldier.
Yeah.
So I was just like, yes.
Yeah. That one I was like, there we go.
Yeah.
See, whereas when they were doing the almost montage of everyone leading up to the fight, I was like, okay, so he's introducing them so that we can interact with them in the following episode after the pits. I wasn't counting that as our checks. I was counting that, okay, they're going to interact in the next episode.
Well, that's why I mean we're half right.
Okay.
I'm counting it as a half right.
Okay.
Because we were like, this is going to happen before the arc ends.
Right.
For them to hit 5th level, basically, I think is basically the stipulation that we put on it. Is that once they had wrapped that
5th
up...
level / downtime. And the arc.
Although now I'm not so sure about the downtime.
Yeah. Not so sure either. There's quite a bit going on, so...
Now, we talked about, before the show, changing the way we discuss the episodes.
Correct.
And our speculations, and going to a per character,
and then other things not involved with the Mighty Nine narrative.
Yeah.
So how do you want to do this?
Just by chance, You did your per character spreadsheet again this week.
Right, and I didn't do it for a couple of weeks just because I've been so busy at my job that I haven't had time to sit down and fill out my spreadsheet. Because I did have this nifty little spreadsheet that I make for my notes so that I know what to talk about. I'm just going to leave this out because I'll probably keep referencing it. And I've just got to column by character and then the episode title here where I put all the stuff that doesn't fall to a specific character. Because I'm anal. So who do you want to start with?
I kind of want to start with Caleb because Liam had a lot of things happening this episode, and right off the bat, his is the first thing in my notes. Which made me laugh hysterically. And it's because when they came back from the intro, the cussing that they do at Matt made the comment, "You were a little late on that one." And Liam's like, "No, that's exactly how I wanted to time it." And immediately my brain went to Gandalf. A wizard is never late.
Nor never early. He runs precisely when he means to.
And Liam being the big Tolkien.
And I kind of blew off the comment as like, yeah, whatever. You know, like he was just covering his ass because he was late. Which could be. And still be the Tolkien reference.
But yeah, that...
Because let's face it, that's all Gandalf was doing, was covering his ass. With the reference.
But I used that as the alarm sound for getting up in the morning on my phone, which is why it especially tickled me.
Nice.
But anyway, to more substantive Caleb points.
More substantive. Well, we touched. So he gets to the one thing that we've been feeling for, like you said, him looking for the Cobalt Reserve. Putting out those feelers.
And see, my notes are not that organized, so I'm going to look through it. Halls of Erudition.
Yes.
Because he also investigated on how he may gain access to them as well.
So he puts those feelers out, and then he comes back still disguised, you know, with the Coke bottle glasses, and that was nice because it led for an opportunity for Bo to interact with him. Because I don't think that aside that she had would have happened if he hadn't come back with the blues.
Right. And so it's a fantasy because it'll never happen. Caleb doesn't have the stats for it. But she was like, "You look good in blue." I was like, that's almost... That, to me, is Bo's version of the recruiter speech that they were getting from... Like, but I was like, he does have the stats, however, to multi-class knowledge cleric.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying that's going to happen, but like just that interaction just got my brain going on.
Well, like, I mean, if he jumps monk, he's got his 16 wisdom.
He's only got a 12 in dex.
Okay, great. 14, that's 3 better than his AC is now. That's the same as when he...
No, I'm saying he can't multi-class at monk.
Oh, yeah.
His dex and wisdom have to be 13.
Well, he can always take a feat that gives him a +1 to dex.
Yeah, or just an ASI and split him up or do whatever. Yeah, he could, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. I think he's going to stay a wizard.
Yeah.
You know, he may do some feats to kind of mirror things, not necessarily monk abilities because there are no feats that give you things.
Yeah.
He could theoretically do Tavern Brawler, just because it doesn't have to be Tavern Brawler. It's proficient with. It raises your strength to con 1, gives you an unarmed strike that deals more than 1 damage, and makes you proficient with improvised weapons.
Yeah.
You could reflavor that as just a little bit of monk training.
That's true.
He could easily pick up, he could easily,
Is there a requirement, strength or dex requirement?
Nope.
I can't remember. Alright. Yeah.
So, that feat, it's one of my favorite feats, you know this.
Yeah.
But that feat does not have to be, it has nothing to do with drinking.
It's just you fight a lot with your hands.
Yeah.
And shit
whatever shit is laying around. That could very easily be reflavored to a monk splash. Like the magic initiate is a wizard splash or warlock splash.
That's true.
So.
Yeah, and the first martial arts die is a D4.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure.
So we'll see. He's only got his initial human feat so far.
Yeah.
Because he took the ASI, which was smart to shoot his up to 20.
Yeah. Did you have anything other on Caleb?
Not really as far as speculation or anything. I like some of the play, like him doing the archery game. He ties the wire. He ties the wire in his hair, and all the girls are like, "No, that's so bad for your hair."
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I had long hair getting tips like that.
Yeah, me too. Had long hair in high school. Did you have anything else for Caleb?
Not really. The biggest things were that he's looking for a way into the library.
Mm-hmm.
Looking for. That was the biggest thing that I had for Caleb. And I think Liam has this episode leaned way heavier into the straight man, deadpan delivery that we've talked about.
Oh yeah,
in the past.
And some of the cast have mentioned on Talks.
Yeah, and this episode he was way heavy into it.
Yeah,
like I don't remember the specific wording, but I know he threw out like 2 puns.
Yeah.
And no one got it. And I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. But, yeah.
Well, let's use that as a segue to Bo then. Why not?
Yeah.
Because we dealt with Cobalt Reserve. She revealed to one of the party that she's part of the Cobalt Reserve.
Yeah, and presumably, since they were all there, potentially other people.
Potentially, but she kind of said, I pull him back a little bit and talk to him. They were all, like, within 10 feet of each other, but, she's like, I just kind of show him my
well,
belt.
maybe they're just going to insinuate what Laura joked about. What do you have, a tramp stamp?
Yeah. No, it's my belt. I was in the pool.
So yeah, I think that's probably if they don't take it to that it's been revealed to everybody, then that's probably what they're gonna drag her on until she reveals.
Yeah. That was kind of one of those moments where it was the 2 of them, but then something happened and everybody jumped into the conversation.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of Bo, earlier in the episode, Bo goes back to almost a throwaway line of Jester's when they fought the Crick.
Uh-huh.
When she was like, "You mean without this you don't have children?"
Oh yeah.
And Bo was like, "You said that." And now we're hearing about children going missing.
Yeah, that was one of my narrative points, was the stolen kids.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, part of me thinks it's a red herring.
Okay.
Because that was not information from the Drow. That was Laura's interpretation of what he said.
Right.
And my interpretation of what he said was the spirits of all the Drow can't come back as Drow without these things. So that's their civilization growing, as he's talking about. Where she took it as they can't have children without them.
Right. Yeah, she was definitely just being Jester.
Yeah.
The
So
thing that the comment sparked me is remembering them talking about pre-stream, where they had all the missing children, which is the arc where Keyleth ended up killing a kid. And I was wondering if maybe it's a throwback back to that.
Oh man. Yeah.
Things being cyclical.
Because they only put him in a pocket dimension.
Yeah. So I was wondering if maybe it's a throwback to that. That was the thought process in my brain when I watched it both first and rewatched.
By the way, they would be the same level they were, if about right, when they faced him the first time.
Yeah. So. And while he's keeping the campaign separate, they do have to deal with the fallout.
Yeah, they do.
Their actions.
They do. And that's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
And also, how they get Craven Edge back.
Okay.
Because if you remember, Keyleth sent Craven Edge to that same pocket dimension.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, could happen. It's just a speculation. I'm not saying for sure this is going to happen, but that's where my brain went to.
Yeah.
That's where I was like, oh.
That's good. Yeah. I'm saying that, yeah.
I'm saying it's a strong possibility.
Yeah, I like that.
The only other, like, the Cobalt Soul and kind of leading into the stolen kids, that conversation with Jester, the only other thing I had made me laugh, made Matt laugh. Caleb enlarges Yasha, and they're talking about how big she is. And Marisha just deadpan. I've had that dream. Almost to the point where you can't tell if she was Bo or Marisha saying that.
I think she was Marisha.
I think both of them have had that dream.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But she's just playing that, you know, that awkward,
yeah,
you know.
So, Bo's, I understand Marisha's consternation when they were fighting the Winter Wolves.
Right.
Because she did get over 20 on her animal handling check. I don't know, like, part of me is disappointed that Matt didn't, like, make the wolf go over there to give her what she wanted.
Right.
Basically. And to delay its getting into melee with everybody else. And creating that crossfire of the breath weapon attack.
Right.
But at the same time, she wasn't exactly specific as to what she wanted that wolf to do.
Right. Well, and here's the
other... a wolf's not going to go after a stick.
Right. Especially one that's, you know, if you're an animal in a gladiatorial pit, you're probably whipped up into a frenzy before
Yeah.
you lose into the
Yeah.
gladiatorial thing.
Yeah.
You know, that's just what they did. You know.
Well, and Matt even later when he's talking about the hill giant being prodded.
Yeah.
Which. So, spoiler for next episode. It is going. I don't know how it will affect them, and if they will even learn it. But I have a feeling that hill giant, like, has a gentle disposition normally, and they had
Okay.
to wound it, to work it into a frenzy.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of worried that they're not going to bother to do non-lethal, and they're going to kill this nice guy. And the only way that I can think that it would happen is that Matt puts in the Rancor trainer version.
Yeah.
In this, where they see the hill giant's friend that convinced him to come do this.
Yeah.
Sad, crying over his dead friend.
Yeah.
It may not be a spoiler, but that's where my brain's on that. But yeah, she is much better about calling out her sentinel attacks than Yasha.
Yeah.
And Ashley. But I think that's just a function of she's played 9 games more than Ashley.
Right.
Something like that. So she's just done it.
Yeah.
Um,
Although they did get the Sentinel beat at the same time, and they've both played every game since then. Because Ashley was back and they leveled up.
Yeah, but Ashley is still getting used to her base stuff.
Right.
Although
she was a lot more comfortable in her role as Yasha.
Oh yeah.
This week.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And she's got the backup character if Yasha leaves.
Gag me with the spoon, Mrs. Henderson. So good.
And I love that he threw in there after growing pains before she's the sheriff, because the two who were acting as children back then, Ashley was on growing pains, Taliesin was on she's the sheriff.
Yeah.
Which was, my first introduction to those two actors was those two shows.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything else for Bo?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think.
Who are we leaning into?
Other than, because I don't think we can say anything about the games that they went on, that they played.
We're gonna talk about Trebuchet when we get to Molly, but because we'll get to that when we get to Molly.
All right. Well, as we mentioned Yasha.
Yeah.
So let's cover Yasha.
Okay. You had the big one that I kind of glossed over because Barbarian
and everyone at the table.
In my defense, most previous editions, I don't know about 4th because I don't really like 4th. I mess with 4th as little as possible. But 3rd, 2nd, AD&D 1st, if you were a barbarian, you couldn't read stat. No matter what your intelligence score, no matter what languages you knew, you couldn't read. You actually had to spend skill points to learn to read. 1 skill point per language that you learn to read. You could not read straight out. So, in my defense, when she was like, I picked it up when she's like, can you read this? Can you read this? Yeah. She can't read. Okay, she's a barbarian.
Yeah.
No big.
Yeah.
She's just hearkening back to the old days because she's played D&D before.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, Yasha can't read. And that was sort of a big reveal.
Yeah.
For me, I was like, oh, because her intelligence is 12.
Yeah.
She's
and when
literally
you
twice as smart as Grog.
when you mentioned it, I made the connection that this is 5th edition. They can read.
Yeah. You are considered to be literate in whatever languages you know.
Right. So that's when it clicked for me. I was like, oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Because I just glossed it over because I've played so many editions where you couldn't read.
Yeah. And everyone at the table basically glossed it over too.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think either 3.5 or Pathfinders when they started being able to read base, but 3.0 they couldn't. I know that. So, but anyway, she kept wanting to pop her angel visage, but she kept asking, "Who's within 10 feet of me?
Yeah.
Are they outside?" Because she didn't want to get her friends in it.
Yeah. Unlike the Fallen ASMR that you were playing in one of our games, you didn't care.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just popping it. I need the extra damage. I need the extra ability. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And it's fun, especially if you're playing with people who don't know what an ASMR does. You pop it. Oh, by the way, you need to make that save. Oh.
Yeah. One of the things, like, so during the carnival portion of the episode,
yes,
Yasha raging twice. I was just like,
yep, I was too. Okay, the first one I was like, okay.
Yeah.
When she used the second one, I'm like, really? Are you just gonna use them all? I mean, you guys have been talking about going to the victory pit. You're just gonna waste them all now.
Yeah.
I mean, you do you.
Yeah. So it's gonna be. Yeah, it's gonna be a hard fight, I think.
But my barbarians don't even rage automatically in battle. They have to get pissed off before they rage.
Yeah. And also Matt's being very nice because rules as written, she wasn't taking damage. So that rage should not have sustained.
Yeah.
Now, you could probably make the argument that the arm wrestling match is a grapple check, is an attack roll.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Well, you don't have to take damage, you just have to be attacked, right?
No, you either have to attack or take damage.
Okay.
Which is why I say the arm wrestling match, you could make the argument that those were attack rolls because they're essentially grapple checks.
Right.
So that one, okay, fine.
Right.
But when she sustained her rage over the hammer drop.
She's attacking every time she hits it. If you want to make that argument, you can make that.
Well, here's the you can't make that. That's a.
Can you attack a door?
Yes, and you make an attack roll. It's not a strength check.
That's true.
She was making a strength check,
okay.
And not even athletics, just a strength check.
Okay.
That's why I'm like, oh. And even the arm wrestling one, I'm like, it's kind of a stretch, but that one, like if I were to say, okay, your rage is abated, and the player came back at me, well, no, we're wrestling. I'd be like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was like, I did like the interaction between her and starts with a G. The big guy. And him recognizing her that she's from Jorhat.
Yeah. Which brings me into my thing. They found out that impending war, they're planning on declaring war.
Oh, the war's been declared. And I know exactly why.
The war's not being declared until after the carnival.
The Empire isn't declaring war.
Right.
But there has already been an attack.
So.
And I know why.
I mean, is this going to be an excuse for her to leave back to New York? She's got to go into hiding? Is she more... What I want to know is, like, who's she concerned for? This has got to be... I mean, this is a big thing for her. She's from Jorhas in the Empire. They're declaring war.
Yes.
She has expressed concern that she's got family back there. So I think this is going to be like a huge roleplay thing for Ashley.
Well, and this was going to be Yasha's arc. This is the arc that Matt has built in for Yasha.
Yeah.
This is the tease for it. And I don't know if we want to get into it now, but like I say, I know why that attack has happened. Why Jorhas was attacked.
Well, let's get to that with the narrative.
Okay.
Unless it specifically ties to one of the characters directly.
Not really.
Okay.
Not much in the way of Ford this episode. Although, okay, so let's talk about Ford.
Okay.
Real quick. And I should have mentioned it with Caleb, but it's Ford, but it's about Ford, so I'll mention it now.
Okay.
When Ford apparates his sword in the fight with the Winter Wolves, he says, "I summoned the falchion." And Liam was like, "What?"
Yeah. Well, he said the
falchion of whatever the sword was.
Other sword.
Yeah.
He said that sword falchion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Liam was the only one that picked up that. Wait a minute, that wasn't.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, nice job, Liam.
That keen mind.
Yeah. Right.
Observance next, Liam. It's gotta be.
Right. So yeah. Now you don't remember the screen. I'm talking with one of our viewers on YouTube.
Okay.
In the comments section on last week's show. And we were discussing how the comfort level of this party versus Vox Machina in melee versus ranged.
Okay.
And I found myself being a little frustrated this episode with how they were doing things. And I was just, it pained me. And we don't like to backseat drive. But, like, Ford is probably the most comfortable at either distance.
Right.
And most because of Eldritch Blast. He doesn't have a super high AC because he's only in medium armor. So I understand his reticence to be danger close, as Travis was saying when they were arguing about their tactics leading into the Hill Giant fight. But too many of them want to not be in close quarters.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this a reference to all the guys are like 40 feet back and all the girls are up in the middle of it?
Yeah. Yeah, basically. And that's not why I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated because I'm frustrated with Jester and Laura because she got the highest AC other than Bo.
And they're tied, I believe.
Yeah, they're both at 17.
Right.
Beat in there.
You know,
I mean, she doesn't have the melee damage output that a fighter would have.
Right.
With a bigger weapon. But if she can take hits, especially if she's got, like, I think the ideal sort of situation for these guys is to have Jester in the middle, Bo and Yasha in the wings.
Okay.
So
they come up to...
So that anything that targets Jester, Yasha and Bo can both...
BAM! Okay. I understand where you're coming from. It's not an issue for me.
Yeah.
And here's why. The way I'm seeing it, they're low-level characters. They've pretty much just gotten together. What? Maybe a month in-game?
About, yeah.
They're figuring out how each other works.
To some extent, that's true. But, like, Laura knows she's got a 17 AC. You know,
Right.
There's not much better you can do without really optimizing for AC.
Yes, but Jester is not a combat character.
Oh, yeah, that's true too.
A mechanical advantage does not equate to a character necessity.
Yeah, I guess I'm waiting for Ford to beat that into her. Basically.
What we need is Ford to pick up a shield and have the 17 AC and wade into the middle of shit.
Yeah, that too.
Because he's a Hexblade, he's a Pact of the Blade, he's about as martial as an Arcane caster can get.
Yeah. And that's the other thing.
And he took Warcaster.
Yeah.
Yasha or Jester is pretty much support that doesn't want to be hit.
Yeah. That's true.
So by that logic, she should not be up in the middle of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's true. And I would substitute Ford with a shield in the mix, in between Yasha and Buff.
Right. The reason he doesn't have the shield is he wants to be able to switch from one to two-handed.
For the versatility, yeah.
Which in that case, he either needs to get some magic armor or suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah, or bracers if you can. Well, bracers only work if you don't have armor on.
Well, something that'll add. A cloak, and whatever, you know.
Yeah, and Molly needs to move his ass.
Yeah.
Because Vicious Mockery is not working as his ranged attack.
So, and again, we don't. If I was playing that character,
this is the fantasy football portion of
this
the
is the
evening.
fantasy football portion of the evening.
This is that we're coaching them in the locker room.
Ford, next level, should take improved pact weapon. That way he can change it to a bow if he needs to go range, or he can move up.
Yeah. That's a waste because he has Agonizing Blast. His Eldritch Blasts are going to be way better than a longbow.
Okay, into that. Molly should take the mobile feat. Move, hit, move out without an attack of opportunity.
Okay, yes. Then his tactic of moving
makes a lot more sense, you know.
I can accept it more. But still, he's the melee version of the Blood Hunter. He's got two melee weapons.
Yes.
He doesn't need to be staying back. He needs to be getting in there and dishing damage.
Yeah.
Which, I'm not saying this is true.
Okay.
But I think the dice gods are punishing him for not doing that. Because if you've noticed, the first round he's in contact, he whips.
Yeah.
Just about every time. And after he takes a hit, or he's been there a turn, he starts hitting him.
Speaking of the whips, you think D&D Beyond is going to start asking for proof of their ones? They're getting a lot more ones since this E16. Now, I don't think that they're lying about it, but there's been a hell of a lot of them over the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, and 3 in a row from Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah. So
I did see someone make that joke online, and I thought I'd throw it in.
The note I made in my notes for the show is I think the belief in the dice gods may be beginning to wear off on Travis.
Yeah.
From that small chunk of gameplay.
Well,
Like he seemed ready to put that die in fucking Dice Jam and not use it again.
And if you've noticed, they made a couple episodes ago, they like 3, maybe 4 episodes, they made a comment about it. But if you've watched, he's been rolling dice to see which ones to use during announcements, just like Laura. She's rubbing off on him. Yeah, he got all defensive. It was just one die. And Bush is like, it was at least 2 or 3. You were rolling for a while, buddy.
So yeah, that was the one thing that made me laugh when I wrote that down. And that's not a Ford thing. That's just a Travis.
Yeah.
And Travis continues to be our avatar at the table when Ashley says, "I would like to rage." Or when she attacks recklessly.
It's almost like the proud papa, the Dadabarian.
It is. Because she was crit fishing this episode too.
Yeah.
And reeling them in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang it! I meant to. So before the show, I was looking up. We're running out of time. I was looking up the CR ratings of all the creatures they were fighting, and the solos were CR5, and it was 2 of them they were CR3. And I meant to check the HP value on the Urugu. Because I think her crit would have almost killed it outright.
Huh.
Because I think it only has like 50 something.
Well, when we upload this to YouTube, we'll have to put that in the comments section.
Yeah.
We'll have to research that and put that in. But because we're starting to get low, I didn't really have much on Jester other than the Bogarting the moat.
I have something on Jester.
Okay, so let's hit Jester real quick, but then I've got some stuff on Molly and some story stuff that we haven't touched on yet that I'd like to get to.
So, big thing with Jester.
Yes.
First, and we mentioned it before, her sneaking in to the Allhammer place, putting her thing, and basically getting caught.
Well, we said that she was going to do this with all of them, and she mentioned on Talks, I think, an episode or 2 after we said that she was planning on hitting all of them.
Yeah.
So I kind of chalked that into we called it a while ago.
But combine that with the fact that she invoked duplicity in the middle of the arena. I don't think any of the sanctioned deities are trickery domain.
Interesting. I didn't even catch that. All right, so we shall see.
Whoops. So that's my big thing for Jester. That's probably going to come back and bite her.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that one.
Yeah. So. Now,
then again, I don't usually play the religious type, so I'm not really sure what gods have what domains.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think if I had anything Jester specific. Oh, one thing Jester specific.
Okay.
So last night at the end of our game,
we
were talking about the healer feat.
Yes. And I was thinking about it as an option for my character.
Right. And Matt mentioned the healer feat
a while ago.
Episode 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Super early.
Yeah, there's a feat for that. It's called Healer.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, look at it.
I think that's probably going to be her next pick. I wish that she had gotten it at 4th level, because it would have meant 90 to 140 hit points that Jester could have been healing them between those fights.
Yeah.
For 5 gold.
Yeah.
For 5 silver a pop.
I think, and we talked about this last night, I think a lot of people read that feat and they see the 1d6 plus 4, and the first few times I read it, I stopped there. But then it says, plus the maximum number of hit dice that character has. So basically their level.
Yep.
They're level 4, so it's a D6 plus 8 each time she uses one use of the 10 use healer's kit.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's actually a really great feat.
And yeah.
And when you stabilize someone, they're conscious at 1 instead of unconscious at 0.
Yep. And, like, for Laura, who was this episode, again, because the episode before last, she's also complaining about them gulping down the healing potions.
Right.
At 5 silver a pop.
5 silver a use.
You're healing more than a regular healing potion.
Yep. For
100.
Literally a fraction of the cost.
1/100th the cost. Yes. So, and the nice thing about that for Laura and how she wanted to play Jester is I don't think she wanted to be casting healing spells in combat. I think she wanted to be casting combat spells. And that feat will allow her to.
Right. And she did specifically say she's trained in medicine. So she obviously knew she was going to be doing healing.
Yep. So I think we're going to see that. I was just like, oh man, if only she had it at level 4.
So I don't blame her for wanting the double 18s.
No, neither do I. I mean, I don't think it was necessarily a wrong choice. It was just, in this situation.
In this situation, it could have been very useful. All those healing spells could be combat spells in the arena in this last fight.
Yeah. So yeah, those were my only things about Jester, really.
Okay.
Other than we've already talked about she got her pamphlets out and
Molly. First thing, totally made me do a double take on the first watch, and I watched it on the second watch. Trebuchet. Ford misses. Molly makes it. Jester misses. Yasha misses. Taliesin says the line, and I replayed it so that I could write the exact quote. Apparently, no one here has ever thrown a baby. What?
Now, in this instance, I might argue that's Taliesin and not Molly.
I want to think that's Taliesin making a joke. But
making the dead baby joke. Yeah.
If it's Molly, what the hell, dude? Because he did say it in character.
It's true, yeah.
But the things I wanted to get into, one, he buys the tapestry. And when he buys the tapestry of Bahamut, this huge thing, he says, I clutch my brooch of the Platinum Dragon and thank them, and they say, oh yeah, they notice it and say, oh yes, we're glad you enjoy this of your deity. Does he worship Bahamut? Is this a whole new reveal for Taliesin? Or is he like Benny from The Mummy, and he's probably got a couple brooches hidden under that coat, and he's pulling out whichever one he needs at the moment?
I think that's probably closer to the truth. But he may. To be honest, that part of the episode, sort of in and out of my brain.
Hello, and you said you had something, and I told you to hold it for the show.
Yes.
What's he going to do with the tapestry?
So, because you mentioned that he has plans, because you were telling me about this before.
Yeah, because when he gets it, he says, oh, I've got plans now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and Travis was like, of course you do. And in part of my mind, I was like, yeah, of course you do. You always, but I'm like, also like, what plans do you have for this tapestry? Unless you're going to have Puman's soul enchant it and it's going to be your new flying carpet.
And that's it. That's it.
Okay. Because I'm not sure that they're going to get one that easily. I mean, I guess if they have the money, they know the enchanter.
Yeah. It's a question of can they get the money.
Yeah.
Which, if they win this thing, they're going to have $2,000.
That's true.
Well,
if they're the only survivors. the other team survives too, they're going to split. They're only going to get $1 grand.
They were pretty beat up.
So I'm just saying, the potential is there. They're going to have 1, 2, or no grand.
That's true. Yes.
The other thing is, this week, I'm on a couple of Facebook fan pages. You know, I'm a member of them. I saw a lot of complaints about Taliesin playing Molly not as a blood hunter, but as a College of Swords bard, and he doesn't have the stats to back that up. And why is he playing? And I wanted to address that because he's not playing a sword bard.
I can see I can see why they say that.
I can see why they say that. But this is what he's doing. He is playing to his high wisdom. He makes a comment when he's back of several episodes when he's, talking to Not, and he talks about how people, in their first interaction, if you watch their reactions, they display everything out and tell you who they are. Every single time you see him interacting and playing that sword bard and the charismatic guy when he doesn't have the charisma, he is doing little social experiments to test the water of who he's around and to read people with his wisdom and his insight.
Yeah.
He is being that manipulator, not the charisma manipulator. And I think it's great. And the thing is, you see them as a bad charisma manipulator if you're doing your job right. Which means Taliesin is doing his job right in playing him like that.
Yeah, that's true. But I think the reason why they are saying he's a sword bard is because he opens virtually every fight with Vicious Mockery. And a lot of people see that as a bard spell. And it's one of Scanlan's go-tos.
And it is a bard spell, predominantly. I think there's a couple other. I think Warlock has it.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a wizard spell.
But it is predominantly a bard spell, but it's a racial ability for him.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a lot of range stuff and you've got the distance...
Although, Matt, this week...
They did correct the whole charisma wisdom save thing.
Yes. I was like, good man.
So...
Didn't let me... And I was like, you're still trying to get away with that shit. But, yeah.
Well, see, I kind of saw it as they had talked beforehand, and he was saying he was opening it up for Matt to make the call and play the DM, and you know what I mean? That's how I saw that. We differ. Okay, that's what I had for Molly. Did you have anything additional for Molly?
Not really. I think. Oh well, this is more for Taliesin, I think.
Okay.
And that is how he has found Molly's voice is through Vicious Mockery.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the real reason he relies on it.
Yeah.
So as hard as I've been on him the last 20 minutes, I've got to forgive it because I think that's been his end. Where everyone else has their accent and basically don't deviate, or getting better about not deviating from it. And he chose to do the Irish thing to get better at it.
Right.
And he's doing it more and more, but he's not quite there.
Yeah.
Like everybody else. But his Vicious Mockery, when he goes into the Infernal, gets that positive reaction from everyone at the table.
Yeah.
And it is good.
Yeah. So
I think he's hanging something on that for how he's playing Molly.
Okay.
But it's from a tactics point of view, and someone who wants to see the car crash, who wants to see the it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Just get in there and kick some ass.
Okay. Story-wise,
yes.
we touched on the Hill Giant. You pretty much what you touched on was my notes. You know,
Okay.
the nice guy getting prodded.
Yeah.
We touched on Dolan. We touched on the stolen kits. A couple other things. One thing I noticed, and I don't know that it has anything to do with anything, the victory pit started 20 years ago. 20 years ago is the end of the last campaign.
Did Grog come through?
Did Grog come through?
or even Terry.
Yeah, or
Terry's from there.
Or Terry, yeah. You know,
that's funny.
I picked up on that. And he's like, it started 20 years ago. Wait a minute, campaign ended 20 years ago. Is there a connection there?
Which, if they had bothered to try to sign up early for and investigated what this whole thing was, they would have had a better idea going in.
Mm-hmm.
And they would have known to pay off the myriad like the dwarves and the gnomes did.
Right.
Though that didn't help. Because they knew they were going to be fighting a troll.
Yeah. I think so too. The manacles in the victory pit.
Ah, yes.
Did you notice that they were described the same as the manacles they found at the bottom of the attached to the skeleton?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I'm not the only one.
Yes, I did. And I was like, oh, that's good.
I don't think they noticed.
No, I don't think they did either.
But I noticed.
Yeah, and I also don't think, because when they were talking to the guy leading up to the fight, and they were talking, like, well, what are we going to fight? He's like, I don't know. That's secret. And I was like, why are they going to keep large beasts secret from everybody? Perhaps the gentleman in all those cages that...
Is he shipping them in? Is he shipping the victors out? Is he shipping the dead bodies out?
So, yeah.
And the other thing is the new owner of the Leaky Tap. There was just something about it, and it made me think back to the interactions with Claudia. Is it Claudia with some kind, either some kind of magic disguise
or my read.
Shape-shifted?
That was my read.
Because she gave it up way too quickly, without notice, without anything new, and I just got that vibe. So
that was also the vibe that I got.
I'm calling that she is Jorhassian. She's some kind of spy, either a shapeshifter or has some magic to disguise herself, and she flipped the bar, and it's still her. That is my wild speculation for the week.
I won't go so far as for the Jorhassian angle, but I do have a feeling that she's...
The reason I say that is because I'm pretty sure she was...
And Ulag.
Fireball, yeah. We're in it together. That's why she was willing to host the people who were against the Empire.
Yeah.
That one's a little more of a stretch, but definitely I want to say that's her.
So I got to get this in. We're practically over time now. But the attack. We talked briefly over dinner, and I said I know why it's happening.
Yes.
It's because the Drow didn't get that dodecahedron back. They're coming for it. So I'm looking forward.
The Drow never returned.
Exactly. So I'm looking forward to the reveal to the players that they are the cause of this war.
That'll be good. All right.
We'll see you guys next week. We're going to go watch Talks.
See you guys.